German quote generator Thomas Sowell once said, "The first lesson of economics is scarcity. There is never enough of anything to fully satisfy all those who want it. The first lesson of politics is to disregard the first lesson of economics." And California is the embodiment of every syllable of that quote. From Jonestown Jerry Brown paying for free legal advice to illegal aliens on the taxpayer's 10-piece, to mandatory vaccinations to safeguard the citizens against a bunch of asshats in LA making the entire state a sanctuary city, catching up on news out of the Golden Shower State is like watching time-lapse video of the fucking Titanic. It's morbid, it's masochistic, you know it's bound for the bottom. But fuck if you can look away. We're still, on paper, it shouldn't be that way. I mean, if California were its own state, it would in fact be the 6th largest economy in the world, with a GDP proportionate to sovereign first world nations like fucking France. Yet here interest rates sit at a record low for the 11th year in a row. People are buying energy and bullshit concrete cubicles to sleep in at movie theater concession stand prices. And as relatives of mine who sadly still happen to reside in California will fucking attest, it's been going on for a goddamn minute. I remember well my cousin talking my mom's ear off at Christmas one year about how she could barely afford the fucking electrical bill, even though she was working for the NFL. That was 2001, folks. Fast forward to 2019 with the upper tax bracket soon eclipsing the 51% income tax threshold. You could say it's intensified a fair fucking bit. 2017 saw small business owners crack open their monthly bills only to discover a shiny new FUTA fee. What, pray, is a fucking FUTA fee? Federal unemployment tax. All employers who utilize labor pay into it. But they're mostly refunded by the government, with the final fee being generally less than a single fucking percent. However, when California's unemployment insurance, or UI trust, gets overdrawn, as it has for 5 years fucking running, they take out an emergency loan to balance the monetary deficit. What happens if the government doesn't repay that loan, you inquire? Simple! They tax California business owners 10 grand a year or more, because a gaggle of goddamn dolts in Sacramento defaulted on the air quotes free fucking shit Democrats promised impressionable imbeciles in the previous election, as the founding fathers no doubt intended. When Chris Whalen, the co-founder of Institutional Risk Analytics, crunched the numbers and predicted that a default on the state's debt was a mathematical certainty.
Chris, what's going to happen with California? We're talking about a $25 billion deficit that's projected to continue for many years. It's going to be bailed out?
Well, I think they're going to default first, and then I think you're going to see some kind of a federal workaround, because obviously a default by a sovereign state within our federalist system is going to hurt the credit rating of the United States.
Progressive pundits in major newspapers flipped their fucking shit. If it happens, they enjoined, major corporations will pick up the fucking bit.
You get people, as you well know, like Meredith Whitney, who have put a number on what they see as defaults, real issues in terms of being able to pay bills.
We're never going to default on our bond obligations, our debt payments.
9 years later, those same journalists have quietly replaced the word if with when. But as my home state of Arizona, not to mention Texas, Nevada, Colorado, and New Mexico are all well aware, California will not collapse in a vacuum. California's recorded a net resident loss for a record-setting 15th fucking year in a row, and about to tack on a 16th. Worse still, the outward emigration hit its highest peak during what should have been a boom in the housing market in the mid-2000s, suggesting it's more than monetary reasons informing the decision to abandon the land of milk and soy. The top states, Texas, followed by Nevada, followed by Arizona, with Oregon, Utah, Colorado, and Idaho tumbling after. If you're in any of these states and you haven't played the Count the California license plates game, no worries, you can wait till your next collision with one. Now, one would think, having fled a military-grade nanny state for the finer climes of the lower housing costs and gainful employment a red or purple state affords, the newly arrived emigres would be eager for socialism-free starts. At least one would, if one wished to be fucking wrong. Not only is the invading Golden State swarm not voting anywhere near in line with local custom, the current crop of Democratic candidates are fucking counting on it. Not only nudging Nevada's leftward slide on a state level for the first time in a generation, but now Kamala Harris, a distant fucking fourth in presidential polling, by the way, is expected to come in second, if not first, in the Nevada primary, entirely on the back of a campaign strategy specifically aimed at California refugees. There's no doubt it's a changing state, says Nevada Democratic strategist Andres Ramirez, we have a very dynamic and aggressive outreach machine to try to get as many of those newcomers as possible to register to vote and participate. Because who wants Nevada to be Nevada when you can put Democrats in power at the expense of its essential character and culture instead? Reno, Nevada, the longtime second stop along the larceny circuit in the Silver State, has now been eclipsed as the second most populous city by a bullshit Vegas suburb called Henderson. It goes without saying this was overwhelmingly caused by Californication. I can confirm anecdotally, Arizona is under assault from these fucking lunatics. After the 2016 election, the local head of the Arizona DNC, Alexis Tamarón, ironically, after running on a platform of excoriating Republican dark money, spelled out in so many words in her conciliatory speech that the way forward was simple. Spend California's cash, and when that don't work, ship in their fucking citizens. Her successor, twice-failed candidate Felicia Rodolini, has picked up that baton and spiked it at the fucking end zone. One of the most criminally underreported facts of the recent past is how multi-millionaire smack den proprietor and major Democratic donor Ed Buck actually began his career as an Arizona activist. With the help of the Arizona Republic, he spearheaded the effort to recall our duly elected governor, Ev Meacham, who was ultimately cleared of all wrongdoing in criminal court, but not before a court of the kangaroo variety had already removed him from office. And that was during the Goldwater era. Conceive the damage they can do now. Watch your ass, Texas. Most alarmingly of all, well, watch the DNC debates. The 12 angry mongs are essentially running on a platform to make the entire country California.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants. Okay. Let me...
Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not. Legalize America. Begin with those more than 1 million dreamers. Make them U.S. citizens right now in their true home country.
Which, as we've just established, is the only state with a fighting chance to beat Illinois into bankruptcy. Even more mind-blowing is that even knowing all this, if not intellectually then implicitly by opening their fucking eyes while traversing the world on a daily basis, half the country will still stop, look at California in active collapse, and vote for it anyway. Why? Because they may not have data, they may not have arguments, they may not even be able to articulate them coherently, but the letter at the end of their name conforms to their tribal bias, and by God, they're throwing the fucking lever for them. California's state bird is a swarm of locusts. I'm Razor Fist. God fucking speed.